Hi, and you're welcome to today's video. So the first thing you need to first of all examine, as you can see on the screen for the design we are going to be working on, is you want to examine what the width is, the width of the one that went this way. So considering that width, I'm going to suggest you use about 9 centimeter. This is actually a size 45 last. So I'm going to be using about 9 or 10 centimeter, as the width of this place. And since this one is 9 centimeter, if I'm using 9 centimeter, I'm going to make sure that, don't forget, it looks something like this. Let me try to show us. It looks more like this. So if this side, which is the one I'm just measuring now, if I'm going to make use of 9 centimeter for this side, I'm going to try to reduce this side to about 8 centimeters. So this side will be 8 and this side will be 9. Now I can decide to make this to be 7 or 7.5. You understand, it depends on how I want this to look like, but for me I think 8 will be fine here, then 9. Now you can equally use 9 and 9 for the two of them, it doesn't matter. But considering the design or the look, the shape that I see there, it's important for this inner part to be, to not be as high as this particular part, for us to have that look that you have right there. So this is the dimension I am going to be using just for the width. Now for the length, of course, you're going to be considering your shoe last. I want to believe you have measured their ball girth and their instep girth to be able to actually perfectly last their footwear. So you're going to place your, if you look at where the two of the shapes interlock, you find that it's almost at the center of the foot. So make sure that you take your measurement from somewhere around the center, this particular center line of the shoe last, and then you go ahead and measure this way. I always love to add 3 centimeter extra for my lasting allowance. This is 9, so if I had 3 it will be 12, so I have that to be 12 centimeter. I'm going to come around the instep and then check again. This is 10 and it will be 13, so I have 13 and 12. So I can decide to just use the 13 for now and do the further adjustments later. So what does that mean? It means that this particular side is going to be 13 centimeter, while this side is going to be 9 and this is going to be 8. Let's go right into how to draw this. So the first thing you want to do is use your your ruler to take the measurements of the length, this particular side, which is 13 centimeters. So I'm going to be using this. This side is supposed to be 9. So I'm making use of the edge. If the edge of your carton or your cardboard is not straight, please ensure you draw a straight line. This is straight, that's why I'm using it right there. So I'm measuring 9. If you want to use 10, yes, you can go ahead and use 10. You understand? So I've measured 9 here. Don't forget, I just measured 13 here. So I'm going to also come here and measure my 9 again. Don't worry, I'm sure you're wondering, are we not going to reduce? We are still going to reduce. Don't forget, I said this side will be 8, while this side is going to be 9. So don't worry, let's just create this first. So you can see what I have. This is actually our 13, this is our 9 and 9. So if you are going to be reducing this to 8, what are you going to do? You are going to take your ruler, reduce from this line by 0.5 inwards, come to this side and do the same thing. You understand, I've reduced by 0.5 there. So what does it mean? It means when I'm actually drawing the line, I'm going to draw from the measurement inwards to the edge, to this edge right here. I'm going to also do the same thing here. Can you see? I'm coming to the edge. So can you see my drawing? This is right in here and this is actually right out here. So what does that mean? That is what our shape is going to look like. What do I do next? I am going to actually begin to consider the width. You know that the shape, the strap there has a width, so we're going to be using about 1.5 or 1.8. so make up your mind on what you want to use. I am going to be using about 1.6. So I am going to take my measurement of 1.6 downwards like that. So I've taken all the measurements from, of course, the line we have 1.6 inwards, and then I'm joining them together right here. Join this also together right here. You can see that it's almost looking like what we want. Now what do we do next? We are going to also measure 1.6 here. I'm using 1.6 instead of the 1.5, so I'm going to just measure it here and also measure here. Don't forget it's 1.6. Then I'm going to close this side. Now when I'm going to be trimming out, I'm going to trim this out this way. That's where I'm going to trim out. Now before I trim all these edges, all these angles rather, I'm going to use a round object to make them curve. So make sure you put it there. Let him, if you want to use your free hand, fine, but for me I would rather use a curve object. So you can see we have curved the in, and in. So what am I doing now? I'm going to be trimming. So you can see what this already looks like. So let's go this way and trim this as well. You can see what this finally looks like. So this is what we are going to be having right here. Now don't forget, if you think this width is too small, you can increase yours to about 1.8 or 2 centimeter. So what do? Place this right here. You are going to create another one entirely. I mean duplicate this. Just place it, again, and just draw it out. So all I did was just to place and then outlining out, and I'm going to trim it just like I trimmed initially. All right, now this is what we have for the two of them. So this is what you're going to be having. You're going to interlock this way, and then you want to stitch, you can stitch. Whatever you want to do, you can do with it. You can see what we have. So I'm sure you can see what it looks like. Now for the one at the center, we are just going to cut a straight strap that is long enough to go through all of this. That's all we need for that side. Make sure it's the same width with what you have right here. So now that we have this, please, I need you to know, it's not compulsory that this has to be 9. You can increase it to 10 if you want it to be wider than this. You understand? You can increase it to about 11 or 12 if you want it to, be longer than what we have right here. So please don't limit yourself, but follow the same process. The only thing I'm going to be advising you to do is, if you're going to be using about 11 or 12 right here, make sure this width is about 2 centimeter and not 1.5 centimeter or 1.6 like we use, so that it will look uniform in one way or the other. Don't forget that this strap has to be the same length. All right, let it be the same, the same width with this one, so that it can look perfectly okay. I'm sure you can see what this actually look like. So I think this particular width, which is 9 centimeter and 8 here, will be perfect for between size 40, size 41, and then size 42. But when you are creating for 43, 44, 45, I'm going to suggest you extend it to about 11. Yes, extend it to about 11, so that it will be around here, and then this one will be around 9. So this will be, a bit longer than this. Just ensure that it's not actually disturbing their ankle, because it's not supposed to be too long, so that you can hold the instep perfectly well. So I believe with this, you should be able to create this design yourself. Thank you for joining me today, and I still remain your shoemaking made easy tutor, Odurole Mojibola. I'm going to see you next time. Bye.